So welcome back to the channel, and today I'm starting a little road trip, and I have never done this before. You know, I am going to do a little solo weekend photography, and it sounds strange for someone doing this full-time as a professional, but I have never gone on a multi-day photography trip on my own. I've always been with other people, with workshops, with photo fairs. Last year I went to Sweden with my friend Walter, but I've never gone away from home on my own. And I find it kind of difficult to go away from home on my own. It somehow feels a little bit selfish, you know. And I had this plan to go to the south of Germany or maybe even Switzerland for a couple of days, but the weather south of the Netherlands is absolute terrible. So I had a look at my map of locations where I still want to go, and eventually I decided to just go and drive up north in the Netherlands. So that's where I'm going. I have no idea where I'm going to end. I didn't book a hotel or anything. So I'm just going to see where I'm going to end, and hopefully today and tomorrow the weather is going to be good. Sunday it's going to be a bit rainy. So maybe it's going to be a 2-day trip, maybe it's going to be the whole weekend, maybe even longer, I have no idea. So yeah, we'll see tomorrow, and hopefully some great images. So it's still the middle of the day. It's around noon at the moment, and you can see I'm in almost the most northern part of the Netherlands. And the fun thing is that I've been making these videos for 3 years. About 280 videos are online, and I never photographed at the coastline. So anywhere, you know, not in France, not in Italy. I think I did something in Denmark in the first year on YouTube, but never on the beach, you know, always on the inside. But this whole province, the province of Friesland, I've literally never been here to photograph anything. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find something here, but I'm gonna use this time to do a little scouting at the moment, you know, see if there's something of interest here along the coastline. You know, there are two sides to this visit over here. You know, on one hand, it's so nice to be out here and to enjoy this wide landscape, this absolute nothingness that I'm looking at. But on the other side, I don't really see an image here quite easily. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to find anything to photograph. Let's just see. We'll just take a nice walk and see what the day will bring us. So I found it kind of strange that I did some research on the tide levels, and it should be a high tide at the moment. But everything down here is dry. So it's nothing like high tide actually. It's more like low tide, but yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the internet is wrong, or I'm yeah, thinking it the wrong way. But yeah, it said it was low tide, of high tide at the moment, and around sunset it would be low tide. So I thought, let's do a little scouting here now, come back here later when there's some nice light with low tide. And I can walk in here and photograph all these structures that you see in the water there. But maybe I'm doing this all wrong. You know, I never photographed the coast like I told you. So yeah, let's see what we can find. Right now I'm actually looking at a pretty nice image, possibly. There's a lot of reeds here in the foreground, you can see. And there's this yeah, structure leading into the sea. A pier or jetty, but it's from stone, so that's not it. But I think the Dutch name will be a golf, a wave breaker, something like that. and there are a lot of birds on it, so it might be a nice shot just to show how big the area is. You know, it's the middle of the day, I know, but I'm pretty sure I can make something of this shot. So let me get the camera and I think pretty big lens, and I'll take this shot. So I hope you can hear me with all this wind over here, but if you look here, this flock of birds at the end, it just looks really, really nice. And I just tried to walk a little bit to that side, but as you can see at the bottom here, you know, I sank in this mud pretty fast. So that isn't working, but I'm just looking at this shot and I'm thinking to myself, it's the middle of the day. How can you make a shot like this different than all the other shots that you've seen of these birds? And then I was thinking, a pano. You know, who shoots a pano of wildlife? Probably not many people. So I'm thinking a pano with the birds on the wave breaker. I'm gonna call it like that. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments what it's called. I have no idea. Then to the right side there are a couple of those birds sitting on the mud, and it's actually the bottom of the sea what you're seeing here, but because it's low tide, all the water is gone. So I've got some wellies in the car. Yeah, I was smart, I took them with me, but I actually thought this was a bit of a scouting moment, so I wasn't planning on putting them on. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put up the tripod with big white on it and then shoot a pano of this wave breaker with the birds and then the birds on the side. So let me set up the camera and I show you what I want to photograph. So I've set up the camera here, and as you can see, I've got big white on the tripod, and I made sure that the base of the tripod is level. There's a lot of wind, so I hope you can hear me. I've got the little beaver on the microphone here, so I'm hoping this won't affect the audio. But just look if I show you this shot. So it's all about this wave breaker with those birds, and then there's a little flock here to the right side that I want to include in my pano. And these birds are mostly standing still in the spot where they are right now. So I think it looks pretty well, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to photograph it like this with the sky in or with the sky out of the frame. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to try something, you know, I have no idea. I'm just trying this, and it looks like actually that the high tide is coming up now, because the water line is much closer now than it was earlier, and that is a good sign for bird photography, because the birds will probably come closer to this area once the water is coming. And there's also another large flock of birds in the back there. Let me show you how many birds there are in this location. So just look at this. There are literally thousands and thousands of birds sitting there, but just a little bit too far away from me to photograph them. But I'm going to concentrate on this part now before they fly away, and I think there's a possibility that it might be a pretty nice image. So yeah, this is it. every now and then there's a lone bird walking in the water in front of me. You can see the sea is really coming this way, so somehow I interpreted that tide level thing wrong, or I just had a look again and I'm still convinced that it says that it should be low tide now, or high tide, but the high tide is still coming in. So it's probably like this, that it's the lowest point is reached and then it goes back up again. So I think it's like that. I'm not sure. But all those pools of water that you see in front here, every now and then a little bird walks in there. And I thought, hey, it's quite nice to get one of these birds and then all these little pools of water fading out into the background. So you have one bird in front, but I have to be up a little bit to get that side of the waters, yeah, how do you say it, fading out. If I get too low, I see the bird better. But so that's what I'm looking for right now. This is a little bit of a brown bird, but a little bit earlier I filmed and photographed one of these other birds with the orange beaks that I shot earlier. So yeah, you know, it's the middle of the day, but I'm just trying to do something to make it interesting. You know, I didn't drive all the way up here to the north of the Netherlands to do 1 hour at sunset and 1 hour at sunrise. So yeah, just trying to make the best of it, and hopefully these shots will work out. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is this worth showing on the channel? I have no idea. I'm just trying something, having fun. You know, that's what it's all about, having fun. So it's the afternoon now, and it's about an hour before sunrise at the moment. And as you can see, I found this spot over here with all these wooden poles, some rocks here in the foreground. But I'm not seeing the composition here, so I'm not quite sure what to do. It's not much time to find another spot, so I'm gonna try to make the best of it, I guess. But yeah, one thing I noticed when you're traveling on your own for the whole day, it's quite lonely, you know? It's quite lonely. It's strange. Maybe when you're in an area like Switzerland, or with these epic landscapes where you can do photography all day long, then it's interesting and you can keep yourself busy. But right now, I have been ticking away the clock since it was noon, since I shot those birds. So couldn't find anything, drove around searching for compositions, but nothing to my taste except for this. It's actually the first location I found this morning. So yeah, quite funny. So I'm gonna see if we can find a composition here. And there are a couple of mud cracks and stuff here, so yeah, let's see if we can find something. And as you can see right here, if I turn you around, you see the composition isn't that good. The sun is gonna set somewhere there. This is gonna lead. It's a bit messy on this side, so I'm not quite sure what to do, but I'm sure I will cook up something here. You know, the thing with these mud cracks is that you need an area that has absolutely not been harmed by footsteps. And there are a lot of dog tracks here. And the nicest parts are where the light is still hitting the mud cracks. So the ones close to the fence there aren't that interesting. But these ones, you know, it's not much. I hope you can see it if I put you down. So you can see here, it's not much. But I think this section over here might make a really nice abstract shot. so there's no disturbance by footsteps or anything. So I'm gonna set up the camera, and I think I need a 40 to 150, so I'll put you down. Hopefully you can still hear me with this wind. It's not as nice and tidy mud crack as I was hoping it would be, but at least I got one shot. So let's have a look. Just let me know in the comments what you think of these mud cracks. I don't know. I think it's too messy. There's too much disturbance here. I think the area is good, but it's not as good as I hoped it would be. So I'm gonna focus on this shot, find a nice composition, and then hopefully a nice sunset. So I think I found quite a decent composition, but if you look on the other side now, you can see that the sun is behind the cloud. So I'm not too happy about that. So my sunset is a bit ruined. But this is the composition that I'm looking at. I'm gonna try to show you here. I hope you can see it with the reflection, but I've used these rocks in the foreground here. And there's a little bit of a sort of leading line here. If you look at it like this, you see it's this line, but as you can see there are a lot of footsteps in there that I don't like. So I'm probably going to need to do some cleaning up and post-processing there. But then this line leads towards the poles. Those poles lead to the end, and then due to the dike there back towards that side. And I was hoping for a nice sunset there, but that's probably not going to happen. But at least I've got these rock formations here in my foreground that I can use a little bit with shadows and highlights here. So I'm going to make a bracket of maybe 10 shots, making it darker and darker and darker, making sure that the foreground is exposed nice and the sky is exposed nice. So there's also a plane coming in now, so ruining the sunset. Yeah, definitely. This is not the best evening until now, but I've got some more plans after this one. So maybe I'll find more shots here. Let's see. So this is the last stop of the day, and I've shot this image before. Just look behind me, there is this little lighthouse. It's not really a lighthouse as I have learned recently, but it's some sort of guiding light or warning light or something like that. But I just want to shoot a long exposure here, but the only problem is there is so much wind here. It's ridiculous. I have to hold the camera steady to take a long exposure here, and I think I'm gonna do a 25 seconds so to smoothen out that water, and it's gonna be a real bluish shot. So I'm actually focusing on the opposite side of the lake, and then F8, and I noticed that this lighthouse is also in focus. Just to be sure, I'm also focusing on the lighthouse here, so everything is going to be in focus in this shot. And just a minute ago, and I hope you can see it if I turn you around, you see this is a bit the shot. You got this bridge coming up with the lighthouse, and in the bottom it's a bit dark here now, but there are these white bubbles coming in and out, and just a minute ago there was one circling around the lighthouse. So that's when I did my long exposure, hoping that it would create some sort of shape in the water. And I hope you can hear me with these ridiculous winds here. You know, it's absolute It's crazy being out here. So I'm gonna take this long exposure, and I think it's going to work. Hopefully it's gonna be steady without any shakes in it. So let's see. This is the shot. So one of the negative things about being out on your own is that you're also sleeping in a hotel room on your own. So I'm kind of experiencing that it's quite boring to go out on your own, you know. So yeah, probably gonna have to take some people with me. And even when I'm out with my wife and children, it's always nice, you know. I'm always out early in the morning or late in the evening, but in between there's also always the company of my family, and I kind of miss that today. So this is to my family. I miss you if you see this. You know, I admit I'll miss you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. I don't think it were the perfect conditions, and maybe not even the best area for photography today. But yeah, I don't know. The weather is going to be terrible for the rest of the weekend. So we're going to see if it's going to get any better this weekend. But at least I had some fun today. I had a couple of decent images, but nothing really spectacular, I think. So we'll see at home in a couple of days what it's been. So I hope you still like this video. If you did, don't forget, please push the subscribe button underneath this video and the thumbs up button if you like it. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Do you go out on your own sometimes, multiple days? I'm just wondering, you know, maybe I'm the only one experiencing this boring feeling. I have no idea. And maybe it's the area here, you know, it's all flat and dull. If the weather isn't working with you, then it's kind of a struggle to be here, to be honest. So yeah, this is it. I hope you liked the video. See you next time. Bye bye.